You know how Trader Joe's serves the overeducated and underpaid with budget gourmet? Well, welcome to Shopkeeper Joe's. We serve the beautifully unhinged League of Legends community with high IQ, mathematical game theory packaged up for our Gen Z attention spans. Because let's be real, if you don't understand the math in this game, you're literally losing before you even step off the fountain.
Seriously, welcome to the shop. It is officially time to stop griefing your build path. Today, we're going to take those insanely complex item builds, hidden stats, and deep dive mechanics and make them completely digestible. The goal? Make this so incredibly simple that even a Yasumo main on a 10-game loss streak can get it. You are never going to lose a 1v1 to the shopkeeper again. Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Auto Attacker Multiplier Buckets. So the whole point of this explainer is to answer one massive question. How do you actually maximize your damage and tankiness? To get there, we got to talk about stat buckets. For your standard auto attacker, damage isn't just some flat line where you add numbers up. No, you have to think of different stat categories as literal buckets. And here's the absolute game changer. These buckets don't add. They multiply by each other to spit out your total damage. For a generic auto attacker, your buckets are exactly these 5. Attack damage, attack speed, critical strike, armor pen, and damage amp. Every single time you spend gold on stats, you're tossing it into one of these specific buckets. And because they multiply, how you spread that gold around, it literally changes everything. Let's do some quick math to prove it. Imagine you start with exactly 1 in every single bucket, right? If you dump all your gold into just one stat, like let's say you just buy 1 AD, your formula is just 1 plus 1, multiplied by a bunch of 1s. The total damage output is exactly 2. Super simple. But wait, what if you take that exact same gold value and instead of just buying AD, you split it? You grab 0.5 AD and 0.5 attack speed. Suddenly, your equation is 1.5 times 1.5. Because of that multiplier effect between the distinct buckets, your damage output jumps up to 2.25. You spent the exact same amount of gold, but you're hitting way harder. And this is where it gets crazy. What if we push it to the absolute limit? Take that same total value, but buy 0.2 of every single stat across all 5 buckets. Now you're at 1.2 to the 5th power. The result? A staggering 2.49 damage output, from a 2.0 to a 2.49, just by spreading your stats out. So here is the absolute golden rule of itemization. Buying a variety of stats across different buckets will strictly maximize your damage every time. Stocking just one single stat is mathematically trolling. You want your gold working together in harmony, multiplying against itself. Now, let's bring this into an actual game, because this changes how you look at champion kits. Take Miss Fortune. Her W gives her this massive attack speed steroid, right? Since her kit is already filling up that attack speed bucket for free, you gotta buy the other stats first. Stack heavy into AD, crit, or armor pen early, and only buy attack speed items once those other buckets are way bigger. That's how you trigger that massive multiplier. Moving on, Section 2, Optimizing Casters and Tanks.
We can actually take this exact same bucket concept and apply it to the entire rest of the game. They're basically two sides of the same coin. For generic casters, your buckets are AD or AP, ability haste, pen, and damage amp. Flip it over to a generic tank, and your buckets are health, armor or magic resist, and damage reduction.
Obviously, there are caster exceptions based on who you're playing. Like, some burst mages or assassins can completely ignore ability haste if their whole vibe is just one-shotting someone and they don't need to pump out constant sustain damage. On the flip side, some casters actually scale with attack speed or crit, so you'd throw those stats right back into their specific multiplier buckets. As for tanks, listen, here is a massive mechanic you have to remember. Mathematically, shields and heals are just health. They fill the health bucket. So if your champ has built-in shields or heals, buying ability haste is incredibly efficient. It gives you more uptime on those defensive stats, which effectively multiplies your overall tankiness. All right, Section 3, the hidden stat of CC. So outside of the buckets you actually buy with gold, there's a secret mechanic that totally dictates how much damage you put out in a fight: crowd control. You could have the most mathematically flawless max damage build on the server, but it means absolutely 0 if you're stunned. If they can't move, they can't deal damage. It literally drops their multiplier straight to 0. So you really have to play around this CC balance counterplay. If you're on the offensive, buying ability haste means you get to throw out your crowd control more often to lock them down. Defensively, tenacity is your counter multiplier. It cuts down that lockdown times you can actually move and, deal damage.
Almost at the end. Section 4, Rare Stats and Patch Highlights.
We know by now that an even spread of stats maximizes your output, but two of these buckets are super hard to fill: damage amp and damage reduction. When items with these stats pop up, they totally define the meta. Look at the patch history. Back in patch 12.1, Force of Nature gave a flat 25% magic damage reduction. It was insane. Fast forward to patch 26.13, and you've got Lord Dominic's Regards giving 15% damage amp, or Armor Boots giving a 10% reduction under certain conditions.
The big takeaway here? Non-negotiable. Because these multiplier buckets are so incredibly rare, you should always prioritize damage amp and damage reduction items if the patch conditions and the enemy team comp allow for it. It is literally free multiplication that your opponents just can't match by stacking raw base stats.
So, to wrap this explainer up, remember your bucket math. Distribute your stats evenly. Factor in your champion's built-in abilities. Respect the hidden stat of CC, and always hunt for those rare damage multipliers. If this helped you stop griefing your build path, drop a like and subscribe for more high IQ explainers from Shopkeeper Joe's. Until next time, I'm leaving you with this. Next time you back with 3,000 gold, are you just stacking stats, or are you multiplying them?